Hello, welcome to a new video. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the return of Diggersby with Return. We're going to take a look at this Pokemon here again, but today we're going to have a different moveset compared to the last time where I played this Pokemon. Today we're going to take a look at Fire Punch plus the Return, and based on calculations, I think this is the best moveset, and I kind of want to test it out here today with Diggersby as my save stop. We're going to have the near perfect core of a Zero plus the Alone Sandslash in the bag, which is definitely very, very cool. We're going to have some nice battles here as well. We're going to have the first two sets that I played a total of 3 sets. I went positive on all of them. So like this team definitely does work out really, really well, and I can definitely recommend for you as well. This team is something that I didn't build myself. This is a top team from PvPoke. It is not like high on the list, but like it is on the list for PvPoke teams. And I was like, kind of want to give it a try. I think that's a good team to run, especially for the course that we have here, because what we have is we have a little bit of a special moveset here, of course, on Diggersby. And basically, Diggersby usually would struggle, especially against flying type Pokemon. And maybe, just maybe, we might be able to get out something like a Talonflame or something like this that we can still punish with the moveset that we have, as we have Return. And Return gives you a lot of options to just one-shot opponents where they don't really expect it, because Return is a very hard-hitting move. 130 damage here for 70 energy is really, really nice. It allows you to have a lot of nukes against opponents, and is just a little bit cheaper compared to the Hyper Beam. Hyper Beam is 150 damage for 80 energy, and so you just have the sweet spot of having 10 less energy needed to get to the move, which is really important to do still a lot of stab damage as well. And this is like the cool thing about this Pokemon. Like Diggersby is naturally very, very bulky, but with the Return you have the options to nuke opponents away with a Pokemon that should not really be able to do that much damage. Of course, Hyper Beam does work, but Hyper Beam is a lot of risk. But here in the first battle, we're going to be able to catch an Ice Beam onto our own Zero, which is going to open up the opportunity here now to fully farm the Feraligatr, and with this we can go for another Return, but the opponent is sadly going to forfeit before that. So, next opponent, we're going to see a bit of a maybe struggle for this team. It's going to be Annihilape. For Annihilape, the issue here is you need a Zero in order to beat this Pokemon. Like, that's the thing as well. Annihilape itself is very, very strong. I kind of want to take a look at Annihilape again as well. Shadow Annihilape especially seems to be absolutely ridiculous in the current meta, to the point where I don't know how fair this Pokemon still is, because you have the opportunity with this thing to just completely destroy your opponents by just going in the two-shield scenario. Doesn't matter what it is, as long as it doesn't have a lot of fast move pressure. It seems so overpowered. Like literally, won the last regional, for example, nearly everybody was running Annihilape as well. It's a very important piece for a lot of teams, and it seems absolutely busted. But yeah, as you all see here, the opponent is going to have Annihilape, Wigglytuff, and Bastion, and more of an A, B, C style line. But as you don't have the Scorching Sands on our Diggersby, it can be a bit of a trickier one. And here we see Impeta on the Fire Punch, which is quite unfortunate because the opponent still gets another move off. And so we have to kind of maneuver. I cannot give the opponent's Bastion enough farm to get to a Flamethrower, because otherwise my last Pokemon, the Alone Sandslash, is gone. And so I'm not charge here, I get up to a Fire Punch and I swap out straight away, so I can go for a Drill Run here, which is going to allow us to do some double super effective damage, but it's not going to be enough. Bastion is just too bulky, and they of course have Flamethrower, which is now going to be able to knock me out. And so it is definitely not game over for me here. Bastion can be definitely a bit of a tricky Pokemon in the scenario that we're at right now, usually not really. And it's also a rare Pokemon to see as well. But as you can see, we're going to have, I think, a Impeta here with a Play Rough against the opponent. Okay, there wasn't a Impeta, they're going to go for the Charge move straight afterwards though. It is going to be the Stone Edge coming through, going to knock us out, and we still have that Fire Punch, and then the one Fire Punch that we saved before is all we need to win the battle, and so the Anna Charge really won us this one. And we have another Annihilape, and again, as said before, Shadow Annihilape is even scarier. Is literally scarier. By the way, again here, this is going to be my first 2 sets that I did with this team. I did a few more battles as well afterwards. This team is amazing, but again, like for the next few videos, you're going to see that I cannot put all the battles in there because we have currently Go Battle Week going on, and I usually do like 3 to 4 sets with a team, and then like the videos would be 30 minutes, which I might do for like a very good team that I really want to showcase to you. Maybe I'm gonna make a really long video. If you want to see that, let me know down below. Would really appreciate it. And while you're at it, try to maybe hit the like button. Would really appreciate it as well. Helps me out a lot. It is free. But anyway, we're going to see here the Annihilape against us. We're going to be able to go for the Ice Beam against the opponent as well, which is going to be kind of great because it's going to hit a Dugong, Why Dugong? I did not expect this one. I didn't want to see the Dugong here. Great catch by the opponent though. Shout out to you. Well done there. But as you expect now, most likely, what do we do against Annihilape? And that's a little bit of an issue for this team. Annihilape can be just running through the teams. Like, it is going to be a bit of a trickier one. You still have Fire Punch at least on your Sailsword, but again, the counter is going to be super effective. And as we all see here, it is quite problematic. My goal is to catch a close combat, but I am not going to succeed with this because the opponent didn't go up to close combat. They went up to an Ice Punch, which I didn't expect, and they still do so much damage with this move. Yeah, it is ridiculous on how good Shadow Annihilape is. I really wanted to give this Pokemon another try as well, because again, it's very, very strong on the current meta. Especially in Elite, it seems like so overpowered because you have the option to just align yourself basically against nearly every single Pokemon in the two-shield scenario, just because Shadow counter with the boost of Rage Fist is just adding up so much. I would assume that we're gonna get a nerf for Rage Fist next season. Anyway, next opponent, we're going to see here a great lead force. We saw the Dragonite, but we're going to take advantage of the situation because what we see here is the opponent hopping out into the Azum roll. Both of my Pokemon in the backline are not as great against it. It's not that they are bad either, but they're not as great. And so I just stay in here because I have the advantage. I have one fast move advantage compared to the opponent because I swapped out, lost a turn with that one, and I just went straight for the play rough, which allowed me to get this one fast move advantage. And we're going to try to use it for our own advantage here because no matter what they're going to have in the back, they're going to align their Dragonite later on against our Sandslash. And we can just go for a shield there and fully farm down the opponent, ending up with a ton of energy. So at the end of the day, whatever they have in the back, that has to deal with both Diggersby as well as a fully charged Sandslash. And as we're going to see here, it's going to be the Toxapex. And I stay in because I know that if I swap out into the Diggersby, the opponent is going to swap out into their Dragonite, which is going to be a bit garbage for us. And if I swap out into my Sandslash, they're going to stay in. And so my best bet is just to go ahead, let the move go through, let them go into the Dragonite, and let them forfeit straight away. Next opponent is coming up here. Gastrodon can be a bit of a trickier one. We have to be a bit mindful, especially as Earth Power has the chance to debuff our defense as well. So what we go here is actually decide to go for a shield, because I should be able to outspeed them with the next play rough against the Earth Power, I think. But what we just saw is we got the debuff on our defense, and I don't want to stay in for 5 more Mud Slaps with a defense drop. And so I decided to swap out into my Diggersby just to get out the opponent's Talonflame. And that is going to be amazing, because now we can go ahead and go for the hard-hitting return, and we do a ton of damage. And I decide to use a shield here because a Brave Bird is most likely so much damage that I am gonna rather go shields down and shield up a move that would do most likely 70-80% of a Pokemon than just let it go through. And I think that was the right decision. The opponent decides to go ahead and go into the Gastrodon, where we can go for a Fire Punch, which kind of confuses them a little bit. As we can go for another Fire Punch, I cannot put them into a range now where even Zuma might be able to fully farm them down here now, but they swap out and they reveal that they're going to have a Dunsparce in the back. And to be fair, I'm not too worried about this Pokemon yet here, because what we will see is that Dunsparce is going to have a very neutral matchup here, but like it is not that they're gonna dominate me here by like any chance. Like it's going to be okay for us whatsoever. And what we will see here next is going to be the Drill Run coming through. And this is going to be great, because now we can go for a play rough. Now we're gonna get the opponent low. And we still have our Sandslash, which they're gonna try to knock out with our Gastrodon, which is fine. I don't care, even though we're gonna go down here. I let them even knock me out there. I waited on purpose. So I get some farm on my Diggersby, and the opponent goes for a charge move here. The energy dry afterwards. And what we will see is the Drill Run is not going to be enough to knock us out here, and we're gonna see them just forfeit straight away. With the last regional, I definitely see also an increase in Bibarel. Bibarel got to number 2 spot with like my brother using this Pokemon, which was very surprising because a lot of people didn't really give this Pokemon a chance. And I do understand also why people didn't give this Pokemon a chance. It is quite an awkward spot stat-wise, but typing-wise and moveset-wise, this Pokemon is actually really good in the current meta. Like, taking a look at the current meta, the Feraligators of this world, like so many Pokemon, they're all really, really good for us. But as you're gonna see here, they're going to have the Annihilape in the back, and I just lost my hardest answer and my only answer to Annihilape. So we just forfeit this straight away. And again, we're honest here, like this can be an issue. You usually would like to play it in this with this team here, basically to swap out with your Diggersby as a Sailsword and catch out the Pokemon that you cannot be faced with the rest of your team. Anyway, make a big mistake here. And make a big mistake because we swap out into the Diggersby. That is all fine, by the way. Like, that is not the mistake. We see the opponent goes down. And honestly, what I should do here is I should very likely just go for a Fire Punch. I decided to go for the return straight away, and I undercharge it a little bit so I get a little bit more energy advantage, but the opponent is not pressuring me. What is pressuring me is going to be the Jump Love coming in. And so for me, that did not make sense to play it like this. I could have literally let them get my Diggersby super low and just end up with like 2.5 fire punches, and I would have done a ton of damage against the opponent's Jump Love and force even a shield. And so, again, this was not ideally played, and this is definitely something I have to work on. And we will see here the Broguiere coming in. This should have been not giving the opponent a free fast move. Like, this is definitely very awkward because this is not how it's supposed to work. They should have basically lost the turn by stopping out, but they got a free fast move in there, which can be very difficult for us to still deal with. But as you can see here, we're going to be in a very lucky position where our Azumarill, so as with 1 HP, we can still use, or like 2 HP, we can still use a shield here. This allows us to go for a play rough, get the shield from the opponent, and now we still have a shield left, we still have our Sand Slash left, and we should have put the opponent now into a range where one Drill Run is going to be enough to knock them out, and so we still have our chance here. We're still going to be able to go for the Drill Run here as well, which is very important for us, as this is going to decide if we can still win. We can win, most likely, because we've got the knockout, and now it just depends. Please just don't have Acrobatics, and I'm easily going to win. Oh, of course, they have Acrobatics, but luckily they're not Shadow because, yeah, Shadow would have knocked me out. But to be fair, most likely Shadow would have been knocked out at this point as well already, and so we can win the battle. It's kind of funny because every single time I see someone who's like playing basically a lot of play Pokemon tournaments, like the opponent that I currently have, they're always running kind of the same kind of stuff that is currently very overpowered in the current play Pokemon meta, which is the case here as well. Like my opponent is also German and also a very good battler, to be fair. I know them for quite a long time now, especially through Go Battle League, because I know that I battled them the entire time, basically, also in the beginning, in like season 1 and 2 and stuff like this. So that's kind of cool to still see like people that I know from back in the day just battling. But yeah, they're very good at the game as well, and they're at a lot of tournaments, and they're running, of course, the Pokemon. They're good at the tournaments. And it's going to be a bit tricky here because they know exactly on how to play them, which is important for them as well, because guess what? Like, tournaments are very important, and like you kind of would like to participate there with having a lot of knowledge. And so, yeah, they know more about the Pokemon than I do. And we see always like the Pokemon that are always very overpowered, like here with Drapion, which is literally the most commonly used Pokemon currently as a safe swap, or just generally as a safe Pokemon. We have the Dugong, which has a lot of play in the current meta thanks to the ground type coverage move Drill Run, which helps you out as well against Drapion. And we're going to have the Alolan normal Marowak there, which thanks to the Mudslap buff recently got so overpowered that he can even Mudslap down a Shadow Feraligatr in the 2-shield scenario. So yeah, they're basically using the team, the Pokemon that are the best currently in the meta for at least the Show 6 Pick 3 format. But they're also very good for the blind format, of course. Like, the formats are very similar in terms of which Pokemon are useful for the blind format. Some more bulky or weird Pokemon are much more useful. For example, Bastion is a bit more tricky to play in the Show 6 Pick 3 format. But as you can see here, we said they're gonna lose. I think it was a winnable battle, but they just played better. Like, they literally just played better than me. Final opponent here, we're going to have a Dunsparce in the lead. Here's the funny thing. If you don't have a really good IV Azumarill, I think you lose this matchup as an Azumarill. If you have a good IV Azumarill, which, as you can see on the right side, we have, you usually should be able to win this matchup. For Azumarill, actually having very good IVs is actually super important. There are a lot of matchups that you can win thanks to the super good IVs. To the point where I had a 1XL Azumarill already built with like really solid IVs already, and I then built still this Pokemon afterwards. Because too many matchups were in the favor of Azumarill after building this Pokemon with a little bit better bulk, which is kind of ridiculous. But yeah, I think the best Azumarill is most likely a 0-15-15. If you have that one, congratulations to yourself, because it's definitely a very solid Pokemon. And we actually lose this matchup, oh no, but we won the shield advantage, and not only this, we also won the energy advantage here on our Diggersby, because as we will see here, we're going to end up with an entire return stored already with energy with an Azumarill. Oh no, Azumarill, look at the damage output. Just one return does nearly half of the opponent's health there, which is ridiculous. Like, for one of the bulkiest Pokemon. I tried to catch the move here, it didn't work out. They have the Corsair in the back, And this Pokemon is going to be a bit tricky, but I think this battle itself might be a very, very close one, because what we will see here is that actually Dragonite did way more damage than I expected against the Corsola, like way more. And so we can go for another one, and they're actually going to let the move go through in this, so I would like just a 1 HP or something. And so, as Corsola doesn't do damage against my Diggersby, and I know that Diggersby has some potential against the Zumroll, I just let the move go through. And now I have 2 shields. And now it's, we basically run against the clock here. We try to see if we can get the KO against the Zumroll before we go down basically from just the fast move pressure from the opponent. Because I'm not going to go for charge moves if I have 2 shields left. Luckily, I can still go for another return, which is gonna knock out the opponent's Zumroll, and we can farm down the Corsola as well. And we win with 2 shields in the Diggersby. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I will see you then. Bye bye.